Coming up on the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week.
It's almost election time. We'll make sure you know the local issues.
Wednesday marks the 212th birthday of the university.
The official start to the Carolina basketball season is only days away. We'll take you behind the scenes with all the preparation for Late Night with Roy.
Plus a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and more. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the October 12th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Lydia Garlikov.
And I'm Tara Higgerson. Today, some Carolina students are worried their voices won't be heard in local politics. Why? Reporter Crystal Calloway joins us live in the studio to tell us the answer. Crystal?
Tara, the buzz phrase this year appears to be town-gown relations. Many of the issues surrounding this election deal heavily with how the council can best serve the university community. Students have made their demands clear. At last week's Speak Out Forum with the candidates, students voiced their desire for safer streets at night, adequate parking, and better shopping on Franklin Street. But are these the same concerns of the candidates hoping to campaign their way to town hall? Not exactly. The candidates almost unanimously agreed on three other major concerns:
transportation, affordable housing, and responsible growth.
Those issues will have a large impact on the council when construction for UNC's satellite campus gets underway. Carolina North is a 1,000-acre piece of land off MLK Boulevard surrounding the current Horace Williams Airport. The new development will require affordable housing for UNC employees and require transportation to and from the main campus. Town Council candidate Bill Thorpe says it will take constant communication with the university for these plans to pan out smoothly.
And so we're equal partners, and so we want to work together with the university to ensure that we go hand in hand.
Carolina Junior and Town Council hopeful Jason Baker says that interaction is especially important considering the town's makeup is nearly half students.
We are a different kind of group from the rest of town. We have different perspectives and different, issues we might like to bring to the table.
Baker says having a student on the council will provide that unique perspective, but Thorpe has other ideas for getting students involved.
Well, one of the things that I worked very hard before when I was on council is getting students on the various boards and commissions.
Certainly one way to be involved is to vote. Just one more reminder that Friday is the last day for students to register to vote in the pit. And Tara, early voting starts in less than 2 weeks.
Crystal Calloway live in the studio. Thanks, Crystal.
Happy birthday, UNC. Happy birthday to you. Wednesday, UNC Chapel Hill celebrated University Day, the annual event commemorating the laying of the cornerstone of the Old East 212 years ago. Festivities began with a gathering of professors, students, faculty, and staff, followed by a procession to the newly renovated Memorial Hall. There, the audience was treated to a performance by the UNC Chamber Singers and the presentation of 4 distinguished alumni and alumnus awards. UNC Professor Christopher Armitage was the keynote speaker. He talked about Carolina's role in the global community.
The presence of the macrocosm out there is inescapable. The tsunami in Asia last December, terrorist attacks on several continents, Hurricane Katrina on our Gulf Coast demonstrate that no man is an island entirely itself.
During a light moment, Armitage cracked up the audience when he referred to UNC as the University of Never-Ending Construction. Well, many upperclassmen have fond memories of heading to Chase Dining Hall for a meal on South Campus. Now, Chase has been demolished, and this is all that's left. But don't you worry, the new dining hall at Ramsad will take on the Chase name, honoring former university president Harry Chase. And it isn't the only building with a new name. The map might say you're at Morrison South, but not for long. The new South Campus Residence Hall, in the shadow of the original Morrison, will become Paul Hardin Residence Hall, named after the Chancellor. Officials have yet to rename the 3 other new South Campus Residence Halls. New buildings are named after university alumni or professors who have made financial or service contributions to the university or state.
People caught parking illegally in Chapel Hill are feeling a little lighter in the wallets these days. On Monday, the Chapel Hill Town Council approved a proposal to double handicap parking violations to a $200 fine. They used to cost you $100. The plan also raises fines for basic parking violations to $50. And if you leave your car next to an expired meter, you will now be fined $15 for every 2 hours that pass. These increases put Chapel Hill parking fines more in line with those charged on campus.
Groups here on campus have made National Coming Out Day a week-long observance.
That's right, and the leader of a group that supports gay and lesbian civil rights has come to Carolina to open the week Monday night.
And what makes Patrick Guerrero fairly unique is he's also a loyal Republican. The former Massachusetts state representative spoke to college Republicans and members of the Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender, Straight Alliance in Carroll Hall. He focused on the future of sexual politics, then things took a hateful turn. As you can see here, someone threw a pie in Guerrero's direction. The co-chair of GLBTSA was disappointed someone would disrupt, not discuss.
Just as we know in the GLBTSA that there are people who are anti-LGBT, who are intolerant, there are those at the opposite extreme who are pro-LGBTIQ, but are also intolerant of other views.
Anyone who saw two rallies in the pit Tuesday could feel the tension between the supporters of gay and lesbian rights and Christians who believe homosexuality is a sin. People gathered to both support and oppose the concept of coming out. Supporters of gay and lesbian rights stood silently along the sides of the pit holding signs, while others stood in a circle holding hands while preaching about the Bible's views on homosexuality. People on both sides had supporters.
Important to show solidarity with the LGBT community, as well as to emphasize that there are other faith groups and other Christian groups that do not feel this way.
I am a Christian myself, and I look at these people not as oppositional forces, but as, vehicles for preaching and teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Both sides were peaceful, and police reported no incidents at the rallies.
Another affiliated campus group is having fun while making a difference. Nearly 500 people gathered in the Great Hall Student Union Tuesday night for a fundraiser drag show. There were styles of singing to satisfy everyone's musical tastes. Organizers say having the drag show on Coming Out Day has become a tradition.
And I think it's a really good event just to cap off Coming Out Day because, basically it's just a celebration of coming out, the whole entire process, and just celebrating who we are as LGBTQ identified individuals.
Chapel Hill Town Council member Mark Kleinschmidt will speak Thursday, and the week's event will conclude Friday with a picnic in the pit.
Registering for classes on the internet is usually frustrating for students. Now, the new registrar wants to revamp the system. After some problems with web registration last weekend, the registrar's office is working with ITS to fix things. The office hopes to create a student group that will make its own recommendations for updating the process. Tuesday, Student Central went down for several hours, making matters worse. The registrar wants to make sure problems like these don't happen again. Children younger than 14 might be walking in one of the most dangerous areas in the country, and you could be too. Safe Kids Worldwide just completed a study that ranked the Raleigh-Durham area the 8th worst place for young pedestrian traffic. The study showed that drivers in this area are more likely to ignore speed limits and zoom through crosswalks. Students walking across the UNC campus face similar dangers. Officials at the Department of Public Safety are looking into ways to make pedestrians safer on campus.
Instituted a pedestrian safety awareness campaign and commissioned an actual police squad dedicated to pedestrian safety here at UNC.
The campaign is currently working with the Governor's Highway Research Program to increase awareness.
Doctors diagnose 19 million sexually transmitted diseases every year, and people of college age make up half that number. Hannah Gordola tells us why many students on campus don't get STD tests.
1 out of 4 college-age students has or will have an STD before he or she graduates. It made me wonder, how many of my sexually active peers get STD tests?
No, I've never gotten an STD check.
Yes, I have.
No, I've never been tested.
Yes, I've gotten an STD check.
No, I haven't.
No, I just guess I haven't had the time or ever really thought about it.
Not thought about it? That's not good news to the women whose job it is to get students thinking about it. Sarah Prisbilla says most students do think about it, but many still don't get tested.
There's clearly a stigma, I think, out there about what STD testing is involved.
Some men told me they fear urethral swabs, but Prisbilla says they may not even need one.
Men can get screened for chlamydia and gonorrhea, those two most common STDs, through a urine sample.
The same is true for women. Prisbilla says most STD tests, such as an oral HIV test, are painless. I wanted to find out for myself if it was indeed pain-free and fast. She was right. The counseling session for the oral HIV test takes about 30 to 40 minutes, but a big chunk of that time, 20 minutes, is actually the test. So we talked for 20 minutes while we waited.
Okay, good news, Hannah. Test result is negative. No
That's good to know. Prisbilla says for students, knowing STD tests are painless would get more of them in the clinic to get tested. In Chapel Hill, I'm Hannah Gordola, Carolina Week.
For more information about getting an STD test, log on to our website at carolinaweek.org. Lydia, I could not imagine living on the streets at age 5.
Neither could I. And it seems impossible, but that's the reality for many children in Africa whose parents die of HIV/AIDS every day. More about that when we come back.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. It takes a man to be a dad.
Pants, pants, pants. I am folding the pants. Do they go on my head?
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Adopt a child from foster care. Just being there makes all the difference.
We continue now with our series of Carolina Week special reports.
Natasha Vuclick joins us in the studio to tell us more about the life of orphans in Malawi, Africa. Natasha.
Thanks, Lydia. Last time I brought you the story of World Camp, a nonprofit organization that travels to rural communities to teach about HIV/AIDS. One of the groups World Camp works with is a bit different than the rest. They're orphans living on the streets, and the story they have to tell is beyond what most of us could ever imagine. This is Margaret. She has spent half of her life living on the streets. Margaret is 10 years old, and 3 times she has been raped. 3 times she has been tested for sexually transmitted diseases. 3 times she is tested positive. Margaret is one of many street kids in Malawi, Africa. Most of these orphans have lost their families to AIDS. They have nowhere else to go, so they turn to the streets. Mambo Kawunda is a former Malawian police officer who now works with the street children on a daily basis.
They do anything to find food. They became more violent. You know, they come in groups as a gangs. They can steal, they can snatch somebody's bag just to find something to eat.
The kids bathe in the local river. They also wash their clothes here. It's also their only source of drinking water. But that's not the hardest part of their existence.
They say one of the things that they go through, especially at the place where they sleep, sometimes people who are drunker, they can come and urinate on them.
In an effort to help the kids cope, World Camp volunteers spend 2 to 3 days teaching the street kids about HIV/AIDS. One World Camp director says at first, the street kids have little or no interest in being involved.
They didn't necessarily want to open up and talk with us. Once we passed through the gates here at Chisomo, it was a completely different child. They were comfortable to, shake hands, comfortable to look us in the eye, and comfortable to wear our sunglasses.
It's a break from their normal experiences. Life in its roughest form.
It's just real. I mean, the pain is real. Life is real. I would not last a second on these streets the way these kids do. To go through the things that they do, and then to have a huge smile and laugh and enjoy others, it's definitely shows the strength of a human spirit.
Kuwanda says, ultimately, the street kids want only one thing.
It's not food, it's not money, it's not clothes. They're looking for love.
And once they feel comfortable, their personalities start to emerge.
They're a bunch of wise guys. They crack jokes. They are smooth. They definitely are quick to take advantage of a situation when they can. And when I say take advantage, I don't really mean that in a negative way, but I guess that's kind of how they survive.
Challenging situations are a part of life for these street kids. But when someone gives them just a little bit of attention, their childhood innocence begins to overpower the daily struggle to survive. Currently, some Malawians are trying to improve life for the orphans by spreading the word about proper childhood care. I'll bring you that story in my next report.
That was a very eye-opening story, Natasha.
Thank you.
We're certainly looking forward to that next report in your series. Thanks, Natasha.
Thanks so much. Well, to a different area of the world, how do you feel about the war in Iraq? Most likely you have an opinion, as it seems everyone does. This was the scene Monday night at a forum as audience members cheered in agreement with a panelist, despite the moderator's request to hold applause. To avoid interruptions, the audience was asked to use green or red sheets of paper to express their agreement or disagreement with what panelists had to say. The panel consisted of professors from both UNC and Duke, a former member of the CIA, and Congressman David Price. Well, weathercaster Miles Henderson is here. Miles, are we ever going to see the sun?
Yes, it should be coming out. My guess is tomorrow and definitely by Friday. And with all these leaves falling and the temperatures dropping, it feels like fall is finally here. Is autumn here to stay? I'll let you know. And plus, that Carolina Week 4-day forecast after the break.
Quiz. Ready? Name any funny movie. A drama. Name a mystery. And one more thing. Name the movie your kids saw today in science class.
Know what really matters. Know about your kid's school. And know about your kid. Find out 100 ways to know more, do more.
Passing gas in the presence of others is not only inappropriate,
That is so foul.
it can be deadly. Passing gas releases a fog of carbon monoxide
Grandpa,
and other poisonous fumes that can contribute to asthma and pneumonia.
you're killing us over here.
Kids shouldn't be exposed to secondhand smoke. Don't pass gas, take it outside.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Miles Henderson. Starting off looking at the weather headlines, it's been a nasty one for about the past week. Nothing but rain and clouds and chilly temperatures, but a gradual clearing is in the forecast. After the rain and clouds moves off, it should be nice conditions with mild temperatures for the remainder of the work week. And for the weekend, it's going to feel like autumn has actually arrived. It's been here for a couple weeks, but now we're actually going to feel the effects. Let's start off by looking at that satellite map. Here's that showers and storms that have bring us that nasty rain for about the past week. That's going to gradually push its way off the coast, leaving us with some good weather for the remainder of the week and into the weekend. This system up near the Great Lakes right now is bringing rain to them, but on Monday, it dropped nearly 20 inches of snow near Aspen, Colorado, setting records out there, and it's very early in the season for snow. Let's take a look at that surface map. Here's a low pressure system just off the coast, which is pumping some moisture into our area, kind of setting up a unique phenomenon. What happens is, as air moves across, it dips down below the mountains, and then this low pressure center just kind of swings through cold air, kind of traps it right behind the mountains in our area, and then it will just kind of leave it hanging there, leaving us with that cold weather that we've seen for about the past week. And it's tough to break through, but it should be out by Thursday into Friday. Cold front associated with it is going to push its way out, also helping to get rid of the clouds and the rain. This cold front out here, right now it looks like it could affect us for the weekend, but I think it's just going to skirt right off to the north, leaving us with a few lingering clouds and maybe a slight chance for rain. Even more further out to the west is a high pressure system that's going to move in for the remainder of next week, or the beginning of next week, bringing us some great weather. If you're planning on headed to the beach this weekend, it's going to be a great time to do it just because there's no game this weekend. It's going to be a great time to get out and enjoy it. 4-day forecast, my apologies. For Friday, high around 79 degrees. It's going to be a lot warmer than usual. As we move into the weekend, temperatures are going to gradually drop down cooler, high around 77 on Saturday, and the clouds are also going to move out on Saturday, leaving us with sunny skies on Sunday, high of around 74 degrees. On Monday, high around 75, we return to the autumn-like conditions. If you're headed to the beach this weekend, since Carolina doesn't have a game, it's a good time to head out there. However, there's a slight chance for rain on Saturday if you're headed to the beach. High of around 78 degrees, a little bit cooler on Sunday as the rain moves out, but the clouds are going to linger. Much better vacation spot is the mountains. High of around 74 on Saturday, low of 43, nothing but sunny skies both days. Should be some great weather for the weekend, guys. For an update on the tropics, though, hasn't been really anything out there right now. However, we only have one name left on the list, and we still have over a month left in the hurricane season.
So what happens when we run out of names?
When we run out of names, we go to the Greek system, so we'll start with Hurricane Alpha.
All right, well, thank you, Miles.
You're welcome.
Now, Heather, we won't mention football. I'm sure the team is glad that they have a bye week. What's going on in sports?
Well, we have some games, and we also have basketball. Coming up on Carolina Week Sports is basketball. Believe it or not, the season starts Friday at Late Night with Roy. Last year's Late Night brought us some memorable moments. With all the changes, will this year's team be able to duplicate it? Find out in just 60 seconds.
Protect yourself from mannequinism. Volunteer, vote, stay informed. It's easy to get involved.
Passing gas can be deadly.
Whoa, oh, something's funky.
Passing gas releases a plume of toxic vapors,
Oh, honey, not in the car.
like ammonia and hydrogen cyanide,
Oh.
and lethal poisons that can linger even when windows are open. Kids shouldn't be exposed to secondhand smoke. Don't pass gas, take it outside.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. Late Night with Roy is only days away, and I'm so excited I could do a backflip right now. Where can you find characters like Coach K, Stuart Scott, and the beautiful Divine Noel? Erica Barrera tells us they'll be back in action sooner than you think.
The Carolina Athletic Association Sports Marketing Committee has its hands full planning Late Night with Roy, a spinoff of Midnight Madness. Sports Marketing Chair Allie Madigan says late night is a lot of work.
With this week of practice, we've been really trying to get the basketball team ready for this, and it's been a huge undertaking, but it's also very rewarding once we get to see the final product.
Coach Williams attended one of the committee's meetings to show his appreciation and sign a couple of autographs. Williams says he looks forward to Friday night's festivities.
I hope it's a very exciting night where particularly the students, but everybody in the stands really enjoys themselves, have a lot of laughs, and see our players in a much different light. And then from our players' viewpoint, just to let the fans get to know a little bit more about their own personalities and how crazy they can act.
In preparation for Friday, members of the dance team and basketball team meet nightly to go over skits and dances. Although concentration can be difficult at times, senior forward David Noel says late night helps set the tone for the rest of the season.
When you have a great late night, that definitely helps the season out, the next day in practice and all that type of stuff.
And how will the absence of 7 team members from last year affect the event?
You still got me. I'm the headliner of late night, so that's all it takes is me.
If the practices are any indication of how successful the event will be, fans will definitely be in for a treat. In Chapel Hill, I'm Erica Barrera, Carolina Week.
That looks like fun. Doors for Late Night with Roy open at 5:30 p.m. and the festivities include more than basketball. The volleyball team will square off against Georgia Tech at 6:30. The only other time the volleyball team has played before Late Night was in 2003 when they beat Duke. With the Heels losing their top 7 players from last season, you might be wondering who's going to suit up for the team. Everyone knows David Noel, but on the left is Danny Green, who should also take over for Rashad McCants. Sophomore Quentin Thomas returns, and as long as Mr. Saturday Night Fever isn't making Michael Copeland laugh, Copeland should provide some valuable minutes. Marcus Ginnard will see some time at both guard spots once his cast is removed. Also suiting up for Late Night will be center Tyler Hainsborough and guard Bobby Frazier. Now I know they might look the same, but remember Hainsborough is 6'9" and Frazier is only 6'3". The men's soccer team wanted revenge from losing its most recent game and dominated Longwood Tuesday night. The Heels came out strong as Teddy Odgers kicked this one for the first goal of the season. The Heels consistently pressured Longwood, allowing Tar Heel goalkeeper Justin Hughes to see only a little bit of action. In the second half, Ty Allison played for the first time this season. He had 1 assist to Ben Hunter, who scored 2 goals for Carolina. Hunter says the small changes were the key to the 5-0 win.
Formation-wise, and then we just came out, and our goal was just to bring more energy.
Well, guys, hopefully you can make it to the volleyball game at 6:30 for Late Night with Roy. Before Late Night with Roy.
It's gonna be very exciting.
I'm always looking forward to seeing Roy's boys break it down.
Yes,
Thanks, Heather.
definitely.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks. Well, be sure to get out your dancing shoes and get ready to do the two-step.
We have suggestions for some cool clubs on campus coming up.
Can I ask a few questions about the apartment on Park Street?
What was your name?
My name is Juan Hernandez.
It's been rented.
Hello, my name is Sanjay Kumar. I am calling about the apartment on Park Street.
It just rented.
My name is Tyrone Washington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street.
It's not available.
I use a wheelchair and...
It's gone.
Hello, my name is Graham Wellington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street. Is that still available?
Yes, it is.
What is?
Housing discrimination is illegal. If you think you've been a victim, call us.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Students can join a wide variety of clubs on campus, so we sent reporter Stephanie Miller to check out some of the coolest clubs at Carolina.
Students find some interesting ways to spend their free time. Carolina has more than 600 organizations and activities. UNC has a sailing club, a barbecue club, and even a ballroom dancing club. Most clubs meet weekly or monthly and almost always welcome new members. At the beginning of each sailing club meeting, the president, Caroline Hunter, teaches the beginners a lesson and then gives them a test. The club has 61 paying members who practice at Jordan Lake. Some of the members are going to a regatta this weekend.
We are going on our last regatta of the semester at Tennessee, and a regatta is a sailing race.
Members of the Ballroom Dance Club move their feet to a different beat every week. They also begin each meeting with the basics for the first-timers. Team captain Jessica Rayburn has been ballroom dancing for only a year.
And we do anything from waltz, cha-cha, salsa, swing, just kind of all of the different dances that you can think of.
2, 3, cha-cha-cha. 2, 3, cha-cha-cha. The Ballroom Dance Club welcomes all members, even beginners like me. Although I didn't bring my fancy high heels, they did let me join in all the fun.
Oh, I was supposed to be back there?
Yeah. So whatever your taste, you're likely to find a club on campus that's right for you. In Chapel Hill, I'm Stephanie Miller, Carolina Week.
Certainly looks like fun, and that's going to do it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.